Let's talk about the temple. I've got my husband Jared here again with me. Thanks so much. And originally when I was making this channel, I thought of using the name Morgan the Ex-Mormon, because in high school I was always Morgan the Mormon. But Jared came up with a better name, Ex-Morgan. I need to copyright that. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the temple. We had some thoughts. Jared, do you want to share that story real quick?
Well, this was in 6th grade. We had a DARE class, which... Don't get me started on...
Don't do drugs, right?
Don't get me started on DARE. Anyway.
It did not work. Jared is a drug addict.
I'm injecting heroin into my thigh under this desk right now.
As we speak.
So, the DARE officer had this mason jar full of green liquid, and he was going to play this game with us. He said, if you can guess what flavor this is just by smelling it, then I'll give you a soccer ball. That was the prize. You get a soccer ball. And he's like...
That's a big deal for 6th graders.
Yeah.
That is a top-notch prize. Well, the ones that aren't super fat. Just kidding.
So, he passes it around. Everybody's guessing. Some people are saying lime. Some people are saying watermelon. Kiwi, any different flavor. And it gets to me, and I take a whiff of it, and I'm like, that doesn't smell like anything. And he's like, well, why don't you just guess, because you want to get the prize. And I was like, it doesn't smell like anything. There's no scent there. And, okay, I guess you're just definitely not going to get the prize. And I was like, I guess. I already have a soccer ball, dude. I don't know why this matters. Anyway, after we all had guessed, he said, all right, well, we've got a problem. Enough of you guessed it right that I'm not going to have enough soccer balls to give to the next DARE class. So I'm just going to not tell them about this. I do have enough soccer balls to give to every one of you. So I'm going to tell you the flavor and try again. And if you all just say that you smell that flavor, then I'll give you the soccer balls. And he said, the flavor is apple. He passed it around again, and everybody kept doing that. Oh, no, it does smell like apple. I can't believe I didn't get that before. It smells like apple. And then it got around to me again, and I was like, it doesn't smell like anything. Like, I was angry. and they were like, he told you it smells like apple, idiot. Why aren't you saying apple?
Don't you want a soccer ball?
I was like, I don't care about a soccer ball. This smells like water. Turns out it was water with green food coloring.
Oh.
And he stood me up and gave me a sticker, not a soccer ball, for being honest.
So it was like the goal here was that,
The goal here was to deceive a bunch of children and make them feel like lying idiots.
Right, but I guess he was saying, just because someone's telling you something doesn't mean you should believe it or go along with it, right?
It was integrity.
You were the only one that admitted that you didn't smell anything.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing, is their brain, when someone tells you to smell something and you're expecting a certain smell, sometimes you can even trick yourself into smelling that smell. You know what I mean? Whether they're lying to themselves or not, either way, they're expecting a certain outcome to be true, and they're wanting it to be true. So, how does that relate to the temple? The temple is something that your whole life is worked up so big that it's especially with the endowment, going into this, you really don't know what to expect. And when you're going through it, you're just what is happening, right? Okay, you've got two outcomes that can happen because you're expecting something huge and big and amazing to happen. You can think, either something happens, something miraculous happens, and you smell apple, right? Or nothing happens and you think either everyone else in the room is crazy or there's something wrong with me, my nose is broken, right?
And what's more likely for a Mormon person to think? Everybody else is full of crap or I'm broken.
Exactly. So that leads so many people to feeling like, oh, I'm just not righteous enough to understand, or I'm just like not enlightened enough, or I need to do more scripture study and prayer to understand this. And it just, before you know it, all of a sudden this ritual just becomes normal, and it's like, whatever, you never really figure it out,
Well, they don't even give you time to talk about it.
Well, you think about the timing of getting, your endowment especially, is that it always happens, just days before you get married or days before going on a mission. Now, not in every case, but in most cases. And I remember, so I went through the temple just 2 days before we got married. I think it was on a Thursday. We got married on a Saturday. And I remember feeling like crazy overwhelmed. But I was getting married. I couldn't think about it. Like, I remember thinking that it was weird, but remembering, like, this is supposed to be really special and, like, trying to be respectful and, like, trying to, but it was just, like, it was so overwhelming then. But then I'm focused on getting married, so I didn't have time to process, And before I knew it, it just became the norm, Do you want to share your story about your first time?
Going through the first time, there's some ritualistic elements to everyday Mormonism. There's, the sacrament,
right.
Certain prayers, but that's pretty common among all Christian religions. Mm-hmm. And so those don't weird us out as much. I was accustomed to growing up in a religion that had a lot of practical application. It was all about learning about the doctrine, performing acts of service, and spiritually strengthening yourself. Nothing seemed arbitrary, I guess.
Right. All was applicable to your own life. It's all about, how do you make yourself a better person and help other people, and right.
The temple, everything seemed arbitrary. None of it made any sense. And people, there is a certain sort of pressure to be, this intellectual giant that you can see, you can determine all the symbolism within the temple. And every time somebody tried to explain it to me, 2 times I got to speak with somebody who claimed they knew what they were talking about in the temple. So
right, because you can't talk about it other places.
So he could whisper it at me, and I could stick my ear right up next to his mouth so I could hear it. The few times that happened, it just... I said, I don't think that makes sense. For the explanations they gave me. And we're veiling our faces, we're doing our rituals that just...
Right.
Changing clothes, all this weird stuff, watching a video. I didn't know I was going to watch a video. And then I remember I get to the telestial room, and they pull the curtains back and show the veil, and they're going to instruct us on what to do next. And as they're telling us this, I'm looking around with a big fake smile on my face, acting... Somebody even commented, told my mom, oh, he just looks so spiritually beautiful right now. I remember pissing myself the whole time. I was just like... and sitting there with that goofy smile on my face, and I was like... And right as the officiator started explaining what we were going to do with the veil and what we were going to say, I go, oh... We are a cult. No, I still thought it was true.
We're a true cult. You mentioned that in a previous video, but it's a true cult, so it's okay. It doesn't mean it's not true. But it is. It's like this whole different vibe, like going to the temple, because you're just like, kind of shell-shocked almost, but everyone there is acting like it's normal. Everyone else smells the apple. So you gotta do it too, or you're gonna look dumb, right?
Well, and you don't get time to question it. It's the only time you're allowed to talk about it is when you're in the celestial room, and there's a certain pressure to not stay there super long. Even if you are there for a long time, you can't speak loud. It's like being in a library. It's even worse. It's like I said, you gotta put your face right up next to each other to communicate. So that's the only time you're allowed to talk about this.
Right.
And so you have to go on pretending that you smelled the apple.
I've heard a lot of people say when I went to the temple to do the endowment session, it didn't feel like the Mormon church anymore. I don't think that that's an uncommon feeling. Now, I will say that for me, this is all still very fresh. This journey is still very fresh for me, and it hurts. Like, many of you have seen one of my previous videos talking about how my sister got married in November, and I decided not to go. Even though I had a temple recommend, I decided not to go because I realized my life was going in a different direction. And it was so hard, feeling like excluded from my family and feeling like I didn't, belong there, and it just hurt. And for a long time, I felt like the temple was, even though there was the weirdness to it, I felt like it was somewhat of a sanctuary, of a place of meditation and quietness and communing with God, and it felt really special. And I miss that, honestly. Like, I miss that feeling of like, oh, I'm so special, I'm doing something so important, I'm giving people salvation. But also, like, I miss that just going to that place where I knew it was going to be peaceful, where I could sit and reflect. Now, of course, I can sit and reflect other places, but this place was a special place to me for a long time, and it hurts to feel like I don't belong there anymore. It sucks. And it's just a difficult journey. Transitioning out of the church, it just leaves you very vulnerable to a lot of different issues and feelings and thoughts and things that, you never thought you'd have to deal with. I never thought I would ever leave the church. I was always super devout, so this is all still pretty fresh Band-Aid that's getting ripped off over and over again, it feels like.
It's pretty rough on me, too, because now I have to think of so many other ways to waste my Saturday afternoon.
Oh my gosh. Playing Assassin's Creed. You wouldn't believe how much Assassin's Creed he has to play to make up for all that endowments are just so long. Oh, man. But yeah, I think my favorite part was always doing the baptisms, because that just felt really cool. And yeah. Just like, I've always loved the symbolism of baptism. It's like you're committing to God, and there's a beauty to it.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the baptisms, but pretty much none of the other stuff.
Yep. And
anything I don't
think that's uncommon either. Like that feeling.
Anything I had to wear a green apron for, I didn't like. That's what I said.
When we were getting married, the outfit was new to me, right? And I remember sitting in the waiting room, we're about to get married, and I'm like, what do I say? Like, it felt awkward. I'm like, we're sitting next to each other just alone, and we're like, I look over, I'm like, hey, nice leaf thing. And we both just started cracking up. We're like, oh, this is so weird. And I also didn't know that everyone else would be in their normal clothes. So when we walked in, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, I'm the only one that looks weird like this on my wedding day.
Yeah, that's the best part of a Mormon wedding is in secular weddings or other religions' weddings, you're supposed to be the most beautiful person in the room. And,
right.
And
not in Mormon religion.
In a Mormon wedding, it's like you're the only person wearing a shitty cosplay.
Right. Oh gosh, right. Oh man. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please drop comments below about your experiences and thoughts with the temple. And I really do read all of your comments, so please keep commenting. I love engaging with you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.